Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. My name is Clive and I am joined by Ricky. Hello, Ricky.
Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. Yourself?
Another hectic Wednesday, which was not helped by a cancelled train earlier this evening.
Yeah, I was on a train on Tuesday, and it was a Hellsborough train, 6 carriages, and it stopped at Hindland saying this train is going to terminate at Gusgarden. This means absolutely nothing to our listeners, but I'm going to continue the story. And as you know, the Hellsborough train doesn't stop at Gusgarden, so everybody got out of the 6 carriage Hellsborough train, and everyone descended on the 3 carriage Dumbarton Central train.
I'm sure that when Charlotte Flair was on her first ever train at the weekend, she didn't have the problems that we've had in the matter of days.
She wasn't dealing with ScotRail, was she?
No, she wasn't. She was dealing with Tyler Rail. Tyler and Pete Rail. Speaking of which, there was quite a successful event in Blackpool this weekend, NXT UK Takeover. The very first takeover of the young brand's life so far. But before we do that, we will go into it in detail. But first and foremost, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors, where you can get over 4,000 hours of independent wrestling direct to your streaming account at Powerslam.tv. If you use the promo code Social Suplex, that will enable you to get a free month's worth of all that lovely wrestling. I don't think you can get 4,000 hours in a month, but you can certainly give it a good try anyway. Would you agree with that? You're good with the maths. How many hours are in a month?
It depends what kind of month we're talking about here.
A month of Sundays.
So if you're talking about in January, you know, there's 168 hours in a week in 7 days, so you're looking at around about 705 hours in a month or so.
Well, that sounds like money's worth from Powerslam.tv. Right, before we'll go more in depth with the NXT UK stuff in a while, but will we have a brief chat about the things that have been going on Raw and SmackDown? Would you like to lead us in with this?
I'll just hit out with a few bullet points because, like we said, we're only going to really touch on this. Finn becoming the number 1 contender. At the time when it happened, I kind of I was happy about it. He's in a prominent spot on the show. I didn't think he had any kind of chance of winning, but Rand's put out a tweet kind of saying, do we think Braun will get involved, and it'll be like when Eddie took on Brock. Sorry, excuse me.
That's you.
And sorry.
Oh, bless you again.
Sorry, it's a bad start. And then Rich also commented as well, and he put out a column talking about Finn and the whole situation. And you can read that column on Lords of Pain, and you can show our brother Rich Latta some love and support. And he mentions it as well, and I never really thought of it like that, because I just assumed it was just going to be kind of the same kind of Brock match we've got against Daniel Bryan and AJ. But the more you think about it, the more it makes sense that you would have Braun come down and interfere, cost Brock the match, and Finn wins the title. And I think this is the first real big test of Vince McMahon following through with what he said a few weeks back. If he was serious in what he was saying, then he I wouldn't say should, but he should put the title on Finn, and then you can go Finn, Seth from WrestleMania, and you go Braun and Brock at WrestleMania also. So for me, I was happy, but at the same time I felt that the outcome of the match was kind of inevitable. But now in the last couple of days, I'm rethinking my position.
Right.
I do think they might put the title on Finn, and Braun cost Brock the match.
Okay.
But we've been let down before, but yeah, I'm going to go with that right now. I think that's my prediction for the Royal Rumble.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Finn Balor had a fantastic 2-3 days with jet lag probably on Monday night, because he was in the UK on Saturday night. Was involved in the takeover, which we'll touch on later. Had a promo with the boss to start off the show. He had a match with Jinder to ensure that he still kept a sort of number one contendership match, and then he won the match. It wasn't the best of matches I've seen. It was quite slow and plodding. It seemed as if it struggled to get out of even first gear, never mind second gear. More than happy for him though. As you say, it's a spotlight for him. He's the man of the moment, at least for now. Whether that lasts, we're not sure. There is, I've also seen posited that Balor could lose, but he ends up winning the Rumble or a number one contendership match again at the Chamber, and it's Demon Finn that comes out at WrestleMania to take on Brock Lesnar. However, we've said it many times now, well, off and on, WWE's own storytellers have conditioned me into believing that nobody can beat Brock, regardless of size. It's not a case of smaller guys can't beat Brock. Braun Strowman can't beat Brock, so why would I think anyone can at all? I don't see anything changing here, especially 2 months before WrestleMania, 2 and a bit months. So, sad to say that this is just business as usual for me. That would be my prediction. You're hearing it straight away right now. There is see with the storyline, there is a possibility that Braun does interfere, but I just don't see it.
And I think, again, I've not got any stat here in front of me. It's just me just kind of thinking about it off the top of my head. But you just don't see many title changes between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I mean, like I say, I don't have any stats, but that's just a kind of feeling I get. I know Bray went a couple of years ago, and I'm sure now we're going to get examples pointed out to us, but that's just the kind of general vibe I'm getting right now. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember how often this actually happens. Like I say, I think it's the first big moment to follow through with what you said. And what you said, I'm talking about Vince. And like you said, in talking about the segment he had with Vince McMahon as well, I like the fact that when he turned around to Vince, goes, "You've never believed in me." Like there's a lot of truth in that, in a sense as well. I know he was the first ever Universal Champion, but he never really got a rematch, or never did. Sorry.
Well, he did.
Yeah. How long later though?
It still happened. It's still in the record books.
It's on the record books, but it should have happened when he came back. The same way Seth got a rematch when he came back. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to have the mindset just now that I'm conditioned to believe that Brock's unbeatable, or I don't want to have a mindset that I'm just going to have a negative outlook. I'll try and stay positive. And like I said, it makes sense because I know as much as we hate it, it kind of still protects Brock, the character and the mystique, etc., while Finn gets to win and gets the title. And I know we hate all this when they book things to protect people, but in this case it kind of makes sense because there's a long-term plan at play here.
All I ask of the listeners is temper expectations, don't get your hopes up too much, and then when the inevitable, possibly inevitable happens, throw your toys out the pram. Just see what, if it happens, then don't be surprised. So it's still a good moment in the sun for Finn, though. I'll give him that. What annoys me though is he went toe to toe verbally with Vince McMahon. He vanquished Jinder. He vanquished 3 other blokes in the Fatal 4-Way. Apparently that's not enough. Apparently you need to have your hand raised by John Cena when all is said and done. Is this the new thing where John Cena's just walking about giving the rub to people?
Well, seemingly that's what we've been told, and that's what we've been led to believe now, that this run is he's coming back to help other people get over the top. I actually saw a tweet, and I can't remember who the 4 wrestlers were. In fact, do I remember? I think it was. One, it was John Cena raising the hand. It was John Cena raising the hands of Roman, AJ, Daniel, Bryan, and Finn. Kind of saying, look how John Cena's made these guys into stars. I mean, Roman was already a superstar. I think the Daniel Bryan one was from the SummerSlam match. I think, I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember if he raised his hand after that, and if it was, Daniel Bryan was already on his way, and I suppose you could say Cena helped him get over the top, but I don't think so.
No.
The AJ one, yeah, but a lot of people could argue that it was AJ's own performances. And Finn, it's remained to be seen.
I think with the AJ one, I can almost give him that because he'd been in the company for less than a year. I would agree. And he had the better of the rubber matches with AJ, but obviously Cena had to get his title win back in January after that. It happened with Becky a few weeks ago when John Cena came back. Becky was slagging him off. Listen, see if this was last year, John Cena would be losing matches and he would be moping in the corner wondering what's going to happen on the road to WrestleMania, with that woe me face, look on his face, chewing up the TV time saying, I want my shot at WrestleMania, even if it means having a seat in the crowd. Listen, it's going to happen. I don't care what anyone says, something's going to happen where Cena's demanding spots at WrestleMania. And tell you this, Cena, and I'm doing the hand gesture for Ricky, you can't fool me. Do 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 do. I'm not here for it.
We'll just wait and see. I'm not entirely here for it, but we'll wait and see. I will just throw this out. I know he had that segment with Becky Lynch a few weeks back, and Becky Lynch was saying that Nikki Bella is not going to be the only one that drops you or something if you don't leave this ring, or whatever it was she said.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good line.
It was.
But let's not fool ourselves. If Cena wanted to kill her on the mic, he could. Just going to throw that out there.
Probably.
But no, we'll wait and see. I'm not a massive Cena fan, as you know, especially these last sort of 16 to 18 or so months. It's just been really strange. Not been a fan. But we'll wait and see.
What about the announcement of the revealing of the beautiful women's tag titles?
They are absolutely stunning.
They are, aren't they? Would you even say that's the best title in the whole of WWE just now?
Main roster, or everyone included?
Just everyone, the whole lot.
No, I prefer the NXT UK titles. I prefer I think I prefer the UK title as well.
The UK and all 3 UK titles are lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit that, even though it's emblazoned with British stuff. Let's go Brexit.
Yeah, Brexit though, for fuck's sake. Let's not touch on that. We could be here all night. We don't even know what's going to happen with Brexit.
I know.
Fuck. Now the politicians, they don't know what the fuck they want. Anyway, fucking Boris Johnson. Right. But and they're going to be, the winner's going to be, the match is going to be at the Elimination Chamber as well. Did they mention, I can't remember whether or not it was going to be like cross-brand or it was going to go jump from show to show.
Well, there will be 3 tag teams from Raw and 3 from SmackDown.
Yep, and that leads you to believe they'll defend it kind of on both shows.
I know, I wonder how that's going to work.
I think is what we said a couple of weeks back, that, for instance, let's just say Becky and Sasha win it. So the first month they could be on Raw defending against whoever. And then they could, meanwhile on SmackDown, you could have the teams, say Iconics, and it could be Naomi and Carmella potentially fighting over the number 1 contender spot. And then the winners of the Raw, whoever wins it on Raw, would go over to SmackDown, defend it, and continue doing that. Unless, I've not heard anything like this, but unless they're planning to put all the women on one show and have a show of their own. Because the only other thing they could do is naturally what we touched on before, they're probably going to have to call up a number of women or bring back a number of women in order to supplement both divisions, to make both the tag division look strong as well as the actual women's title scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, because once you factor in that you're going to need at least, you don't need 5, 6, 7 or 8 teams on each roster. I think you can get by with just having about 3 or 4 on each roster for the time being, especially if you're going to be defending on both shows. So you could get away with that, but in order to get the tag teams, you're going to have to be taking these women who are singles wrestlers and putting them together. But you're going to have to find more single wrestlers. So we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, it wouldn't stun me if they decided to put all the women on one show, but I don't think they would do that anyway.
I think that would be quite a bold move, but either way, the women are in quite a unique situation.
I think it would be a bold move, but I just don't see it happening.
Would you welcome a women-only network show? Or would you have all of them on either Raw or SmackDown?
I would be happy with either or, because I know if you put them on the network, you just know there's going to be people that are complaining about the fact that they're only on the network.
Aye, probably.
And they won't look at it in the other light. But if you put them all on Raw or all on SmackDown, again, it doesn't help with the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes things a little bit easier when it comes to like the tag team division, where therefore you might not need to have as many then. So in terms of numbers for each woman chasing whatever title would be fine, and then you might need to unify the titles as well. So because you're not going to have the women on one show or one brand and have two titles.
No, I was thinking last week. I meant to say to you on recording this, but it's been bolstered again this week. 2019 is a strong start for women in the main roster in terms of exposure, because Royal Rumble, you have the Women's Royal Rumble, you've got the SmackDown title, and you've got the Raw title, so that's 3 matches. You're guaranteed, an hour and 40 minutes out of 4 hours there, unless one of them's on the pre-show. You've got 12 women involved in the chamber match at Elimination Chamber. No doubt you'll have at least one championship, one of the brands defending the title. So that's quite a strong start, and it would imagine, if things go according to hopes, that somebody will be main eventing WrestleMania from whether it's Rousey, Charlotte, Becky, all three, a mixture, a combination of one or two of them. So I think it's quite good so far. And it's good because it's organic. It's not the first time ever nonsense that they keep hitting out with. It's just naturally happening, which is welcome.
Yeah, most definitely.
Speaking of welcome, how are you with Bob Lashley winning the Intercontinental Championship?
I'm alright with it.
Right.
I'm alright with it. Ambrose doesn't really need it, but Lashley, his character, well, not as much his character, but Lashley himself wasn't really going anywhere. So at least this gives him a new direction. It'll be interesting to see how long it lasts. So I don't hate it. I was quite alright with it.
I mean, from what we saw last week, I haven't actually seen what happened with that triple threat this week. I missed that match, but if it's the same Lashley that we got last week, who's a bit of a more hard ass and just more focused on causing destruction with Leo Rush in his corner, then I can't say I'm against it right now. It's an odd move, just all of a sudden, but I'm willing to see where it goes.
Like I say, I don't hate it at all. But the one thing, hate might be a strong word, but I'm just not a fan of Andrade Almas losing his name.
I don't care.
Like, I'm not overly like upset. I'm just like, I'm not sure how Andrade itself is going to work. Like, seeing Almas was the best part of his name. You could have just got rid of rid of the middle name and kept his Andrade Almas. But like I said, I'm not overly hot about it like a lot of people are.
Rob Ropey had put up a tweet at some point today talking about this, and he mentioned names like Antonio Cesaro, Alexander Rusev, Adrian Neville, and see, when you read those names out as the full name, it actually seems awkward. So might not be a popular choice at the moment, but I'm sure over time, especially if he gets a decent push and he's putting on banger matches like he did with Rey Mysterio last night.
That was a great match.
Oh,
great
that was
match.
Really good. They're loving their Canadian destroyers right now, and the bold E, which is good to see.
It's quite good as well, because Andrade's been involved in several good matches now on SmackDown for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Nice to see him get the win. He's one of my dark horse picks for the Royal Rumble, not so much to win it, but I think he's going to get a real strong showing. The Royal Rumble itself, the pay-per-view itself, is shaping up to be outstanding.
There's one black mark for me.
Yep, but it's a SmackDown Tag Team title match.
It is, so let's just move on.
Yes, yep, so like I say, the whole name change doesn't really bother me, but like I say, it is what it is. Although there could be a new name change coming as well soon. I don't know if you've heard about it.
No.
The formerly known as the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, could now just be known as the Ricky Wrestling Show.
You should just call yourself, now you've got Johnny Wrestling. Ricky
Wrestling. Ricky Wrestling.
Right. Will we get on to the crux of the matter then?
Yes,
Unless
the one thing. Yep.
Anything else from the main roster you want to discuss?
No, this is the main part of our podcast tonight. This is what we really want to discuss, so let's move on.
Right, so Ricky and Mrs. Ricky were in Blackpool this weekend for the first ever NXT UK Takeover. On the telly, it was stupendously good 2 and a bit hours. Really enjoyed myself, but we will talk about the matches and break it down after Ricky gives us his live experience. So the floor is yours. Tell us all about it.
So first things first, when I go to live wrestling shows, or live football matches, or NFL or NBA matches I've been to, I'd never ever watch it again on a telly. And I know, that my perspective is going to be different from a lot of other people's, because it's just always different when you're a live crowd as opposed to it is on the TV. So I get it. I am not going to understand both sides, but if you or other people that I trust when it comes to wrestling and trust their opinions, I'll take your word for it if you felt something was too much, or this wasn't quite right, or this was better than it was, or whatever. And the reason why I don't like to rewatch things that I've been live at is because I don't want my memory of the live show and what I experienced tainted. And it's the same with Takeover. It was the same. I was at Manchester United versus Man City about, what was it, like 10 years ago or whatever it was, when Rooney scored that overhead kick.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was at the game, and I've never saw highlights of that game since. Now, I've seen like the goal on the television, but you can't really help it. But I've never went out my way to look at it again, because I've never wanted the memory of what I just witnessed to kind of be tainted by me kind of breaking it down and picking it apart. So that's just my perspective on it. I like to just think of the live experience. So from here down to Blackpool, it's about a 3 hour and 15-minute drive. It was so worth it. Paying the money for tickets, paying petrol money, parking money, etc. It was all just worth it. Like I said, I would have loved it for us to be there, but if and when they do come in Glasgow, we'll definitely be there.
Yes, representing.
Yep, the wife thoroughly enjoyed it as well. That was her first ever wrestling show. She doesn't watch wrestling at all. And I've said the story that, funny enough, when I first booked the tickets and I told her we're going, her first question was, is Hulk Hogan going to be there? Like, that's her knowledge of wrestling right there. So, pulling up to like the arena, like I saw some of the trucks outside, etc., getting in. I actually missed the first dark match. It was between two females. I couldn't even tell you who it was, because as I entered, one of the females was just leaving the ring, so she had her back to us and I couldn't tell who it was.
Right.
The other dark match was European Union versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan.
I imagine that might be on this week's episode.
I think it was, from what I saw.
Which it's just back down to one episode as far as I'm aware, which is good to see. Takes a load off.
Yep, it does. So that match was quite good. Crowd are really behind Andrews and Morgan. They really were giving a lot of stick to EU. It was a good match. Takeover starts. I'm just going to run through the entire experience, if you don't mind.
Please, that's what we're here for. I'll just go and have a cup of tea.
First out, as we know, was Moustache Mountain, and they came out to a thunderous applause in the arena. Zach Gibson is arguably the biggest heel in British wrestling. Like, certainly still wrestling like in NXT and other British-based products. The match, looking back on it, you know, there was several spots that the crowd really erupted. Like I say, it's really behind Moustache Mountain. When Zach Gibson take her shoe off, chant came off, you know, even the wife was just looking at me and she was like, she kind of got caught and started doing it as well.
Did she take her shoes off?
She took her shoe off.
Oh, fantastic.
We were all really stunned when the pinfall happened. I think everyone around us, we all felt that Moustache Mountain were going to win, and when it didn't, we were quite taken aback. I wouldn't, so that never really sucked the air out of anything. I wouldn't say anything like that. And then we got the, again, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but they showed you a clip of Jordan Devlin attacking Travis Banks.
Yeah, they've showed that.
Right, because I think they showed that twice. So I feel like we might have saw that just before it went on air, and then they showed it again just before they came down. So Travis Banks dives out of the ring, attacks Jordan Devlin. Jordan Devlin gets upper hand and she's taken away. And Jordan Devlin cuts his little quick promo. I went back and I watched 3 moments of Takeover. Specific little moments. So I know I've sort of contradicted what I said a few minutes ago, but all in all, I think I watched about 60 odd seconds of Takeover on a network, because I kind of wanted, first of all, I wanted to see how these moments were portrayed and how it came through on a TV. So the lights go out, the smoke starts coming up, and people around us as it's happening are saying it has to be Finn, it has to be Finn, it has to be Finn. And I turn around to my wife and just says, brace yourself.
Oh.
So I immediately, and you saw the video clip that I put on Twitter and I sent to you, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And me and the dude next to me, and we were like, it has to be Finn. Who else is it going to be? The moment Finn's music hit, the place just fucking erupted, and I mean erupted. Me and a guy who we don't know each other at all. We only spoke during the show because he was with someone else. We have literally turned to one another, hugged each other, and are jumping up and down, hugging one another because Finn's came out. So, and I went back and watched that on the network, Finn's entrance, and what came through on the television is not what happened at the show. It was, and I know that probably sounds like, of course it's going to be louder at the venue, but the kind of pop that you heard, you know, multiply that by like 100, like people were losing it, and they were hot that entire match. It like from the moment Takeover started all the way to the end, the entire crowd was hot all night. That pop was ridiculous. And then we got, who was the third? Was it Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm? Was it the hardcore match? I can't remember.
It was the greatest no DQ match of all time.
Yes, so and even the wife, as soon as it pulled out a table, he turned and goes, oh my god, they're going to use a table. And I was like, it's no deal, you can do anything you want. And you put out something on Twitter how the camera shakes when Mastiff walks down or when he's bounced something down on the ramp. Again, it would show you don't kind of see those things, but that match itself, like, people were really hot for that as well. Let's not talk about the green jorts situation.
Performance enhancing jorts.
But that was a real good show, and I even turned around to my wife and I says, talking about Mastiff, and I was like, don't be fooled by his size, like he's actually really agile for a man of his size. And she noticed it straight away. And then we moved on to Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm. Toni Storm came out to a massive ovation. I don't know if it was after everything that's just took place or she's that much over with everyone. It's probably a combination of both. Rhea Ripley is going to be an absolute superstar, I think. Now, this wasn't my most favourite match these two have been involved in. I think they've had better matches before. It was a good match to be at, but the moment Toni Storm won, it was just utter jubilation.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was just really happy for her. It was a really good match. I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. And then it was a main event. Coffee comes out as you expect. Boos, a couple of cheers. And I will say, last week I said I was standing there cheering on Pete Dunne. That went out the window the moment Coffee's music hit. I applauded Pete Dunne coming down. I applauded him when the match was done. But the entire time I was screaming for Joe Coffey. Pete Dunne came down and people were just infatuated with him, man. He is absolutely adored, and rightfully so. The match itself, and I saw a lot of conflicting things. I saw people saying that it went on about 10 minutes too long. It was a bit slow and ponderous. Some people just didn't like it. To be it never felt long. It really, really didn't. It started off at a steady pace, and it started picking up almost like you're waiting for a beat to drop on a track. But and I turned around to my wife, and I said to her, "Are you enjoying it? It's good. I prefer the hardcore match, but because this match, it's a little bit slower paced." She was saying, and I was like, "Look, it's like a crescendo. It's building up and building up." And I was like, "The last 10-15 minutes is going to be kind of 100 miles an hour, and you'll see it." it's like and I was telling her, like, you're kind of being told a story in front of your eyes, and it's just kind of building and building and building and building. And the second thing I went and looked at was the 2 spots from the top turnbuckle.
Aye. That might be why it went on long, because they repeated the spot and it seemed to have, I don't know what was going on there, but that could explain why it was long as it was.
Because like I says, in terms of the line match, was it a good half an hour, I think it maybe went on for?
35 maybe?
Right, but it didn't feel like that. It really, really didn't. It did not at all. And I just wanted to see the 2 spots, because a lot of people were saying that they botched it, because being there live, you just looked like Pete Dunne initially pushes him over, and then they go up to do it again, and it looks like they've both just fallen over. It looked like a predetermined spot being there live. And I still can't make my mind up, to be honest. Because you kind of see Joe Coffey starting to go back a little bit even before Pete Dunne gets up. I don't know. So that was the second spot. And the funny thing about it was, a lot of people are not going to get this, but as Joe Coffey standing in the ring, I'm telling you, there must have been about 5 or 6 Scottish people there. And I'm one of them. And you can just hear scattered little chants, "Come on, Celtic."
Excellent.
And at one point, started singing that song. Right, so they do that, and we're shouting, "Come on, Celtic." And at one point, you can see Joe Coffey just turn around and kind of grin and just sort of like clench his fist. It was quite funny. There was a guy who must have been about 4 or 5 rows behind us as we were shouting, "Come on, Joe," or "Come on, Celtic," etc. That he shouted down, "Fuck the Scots." And I don't know why, and I shit you not, I don't know why, but it was instinctively, I just turned around and goes, "Fuck the English," and as soon as I said it, I was like, what did I just say? Kind of thing, like, I'm going to get absolutely battered here. But people, like, even the guy next to me and the woman next to me were all just laughing, because it was kind of just banter. So yeah, and like I said, I'll quickly go on with it now. And as the match ends, I didn't think I was going to be, but I was quite gutted that Joe Coffey never won.
Yep.
I thought it was an absolute tremendous performance from Coffey. Really, really liked that match. And then you're kind of waiting, maybe something's going to happen. It looked like Pete Dunne was going to cut a promo, to be honest. He was kind of hovering about. I thought he was going to cut a promo. And the next bit I watched on the network was Walter's entrance. As soon as he made his appearance, like, everyone was like that was a real unexpected, like, no one expected that. No one. Because in hindsight, you kind of could envision Finn being there, because at the merch stall, Finn was the only main roster wrestler that we had merch for. And he was at the Performance Centre. So looking back on it, you might have think, well, Finn was always going to be there. But when Walter came out, the entire mood just changed. It was like, oh shit, just got real. And even the wife was like, he looks quite scary, and I was like, he's the real fucking deal. And he looks huge in real life, and up close. So like I says, people started chanting. Like I says, the mood just changed. Not so much, it wasn't like I said, it was just like, oh my god. And then they had the face off, and we were like, oh goodness, like, we're going to get this potentially next or at some point down the line. And then that was the end of the show. And then, so one last thing is that the ring announcer comes out and goes, "Oh, thanks for coming, we're back here tomorrow night." And then there was a little gap. So my wife stands up, she goes, "I'm going to go to the bathroom, then we'll go." I've put my jacket on, I've turned away. I must have taken about 2 or 3 steps, and Triple H's music hit. And this was off air. It just suddenly came to a standstill. Turned round, jumped on the chair. Same guy, once again, jump up and down with him. Do you remember when Tiger was playing it? I think it was Georgia last year, and they had that aerial shot of the entire crowd descending on top of Tiger?
No, but I take your word for it.
Right, so basically, Tiger was coming up to the 18th hole, and I think it was in Georgia. It was right before the Ryder Cup, and he was about to win his tournament. and they done an aerial shot, and people were just coming out of nowhere, and I mean like thousands of people were just appearing and running behind Tiger. It was almost like that, because some people were at the bar, some people were at the exit starting to leave. People descended back into the seats, like they weren't sitting down, they were climbing over the seats, jumping up and down on everyone. When Triple H came out, and he just sort of came out and was like, thank you, didn't speak, just said thank you, like applauded the people in the back, and then left. So he must have been out for about 30 seconds in total, but everybody lost it at that point. But overall takeover experience, I'll wrap it up, sensational. That was more than worth my money, more than worth my time. For me, it was pretty flawless being there. I couldn't pick a single flaw in it being there, because it was just from top to bottom presented well, great matches, just an unbelievable experience.
Last week, Rance, when he was on, asked us, do you think it needs to be an overwhelming success to help it go forward? And I said no, but personally I think it was a success, to the point where it was quite, I would say, overwhelming success. Going into it, I thought, right, this will be good. The show, the TV doesn't have the same production values as Full Sail. It's got a very different vibe because it's in ballrooms, places like that. It's not the same, it's not the studio, as it were. So the acoustics are always different and stuff. But what we got on Saturday, to me personally, that had the same drive and focus behind it that you would get in normal takeovers in America. The quality of matches, you're talking match of the year contenders, a couple of them there already. Matches that last 30 minutes. Just, you've got the 5-match formula, the title, the tag, the women, a couple of mid-card matches that catch your eye. It was just, it hit it out the park for me in many ways, and I thought about it a lot over the last few days. That tag match, I've been saying a few weeks now that Zach Gibson and James Drake are an excellent tag team, and I was stunned, like you and the audience, that Zach Gibson and James Drake walked away with the tag titles, but seeing that match, they thoroughly deserved it. That was such a satisfying game of tactics from them. They equalised. Let's not take it away from Moustache Mountain. They were fantastic, doing their usual stuff. Trent Seven is hilarious to me right now. Anything he says, I'm in stitches half the time. Anything he says, I don't know why I repeated myself there. And what I liked about it was, there's no doubt that British Strong Style are the quote-unquote faces of NXT UK, right? So Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, they are the ones that are doing the morning television spots and stuff. So to have the tag titles on a different tag team, I think that helps elevate them, and more people will take notice, and I think that's a good thing, that you've not just straight away put all the faces of the brand with titles round their waists. The match itself was just high octane, top notch from start to finish, and I thought James Drake was quite quiet throughout the match. He wasn't chewing up the scenery like the rest of them were, but at the end, when he evaded a Trent Seven clothesline, ran the ropes and did a suicide dive out to Tyler Bate, who flipped off Gibson's shoulders, I thought, well, that was excellent. That was really good equalising stuff. But then to stop Trent Seven's bottom Lope suicide, I think it's called, with a drop kick, you never saw this, but he came out of nowhere. That camera only caught James Drake's legs, take Seven out of the game, and I popped like a bubble wrap machine. It was just so good at equalising. It reminded me, it's totally different in terms of the wrestling style, that British style, but there's very much a revival feel to them, where it's all about tag team wrestling, taking it back to its roots, with cancelling out people, even simple things like Gibson suplexing his opponent into his corner, and so he's away from his opponent and stuff like that. It was just an absolute joy to watch that match. It really was. The Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin. Travis Banks didn't get his time to shine on a takeover. I'm personally not that gutted, because so far I've not been overly impressed with him. I mean, even his moveset, I've seen people do stuff like that before. There's nothing different about him. And with the story, ever since Devlin came onto the scene, the WWE scene, a couple of Januaries ago, it was always this, he was trained by Finn Balor. He's had that looming over him since all that time, and it's never escaped him. And since the actual show started, he's been Mr. Big Balls, shouting off the promos that he's the Irish Ace, and he had to be put in his place, and who better to put him in his place than Finn Balor? So from a storyline point of view, I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was a nice wee culmination of a long-term storytelling. What
I will add on to that is that Jordan Devlin looked good in that match as well.
Oh, he did. He's excellent.
At first, I thought it was going to be a quick 10-15 second squash match, but he looked really impressive in that match. And a lot of people are just shouting at him like, you're just a shit Finn Balor, and it's like, that's kind of doing disservice to him, because he's actually really, really good. And I think people are probably just saying that just because that's a cool thing to say, or just trying to annoy him. But like I say, he really impressed me on Saturday night.
He's got a great moveset. That ripcord backdrop driver's just a sensational move. Love it. Next match was Eddie Dennis versus the man, Dave Mastiff. Excellent example of that genre of match, I thought. And hats off. All the hats in the cloakroom go off to Eddie Dennis for trying to do crucifix power bombs to Dave Mastiff, and basically succeeding to getting him up over his shoulders to a point, ragdolling him about the place, smashing him onto steel steps. I showed that spot to my wife, and she winced loudly when she saw that. Then the rolling senton from Mastiff onto the ballroom floor. Just a very hard-hitting match, and you wouldn't think it would be, because Eddie Dennis is, for want of a better term, he's a lanky streak of piss.
Yep.
So when you see him go battle it out against Mastiff, much respect to him, but he needs to change that attire soon. Yesterday. The women's match, I will be honest, I can't remember much about it. It wasn't amazing for me. I don't know if that's just because I wasn't ready for Toni Storm to be the champion. Part of me will always think that they decided to give her the title because of what happened with her on social media. I know that's not fair of me to think that, but it will always be there. I just think that Rhea Ripley's only been the champion and it has been a few weeks on TV, so it feels like it's been a flash in the pan, and I hope they don't start hot potatoing the title so soon. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, I mean, we saw Jazzy Gabbert and Kaylee Ray in the crowd, which I'm very excited for, because having seen a lot of Kaylee Ray in ICW, she's a very, very crisp wrestler. She's very quick.
Can I just quickly interrupt you? Who was stood next to her?
Jazzy Gabbert.
Right, because when I was positioned on the big screen, I could only see Kaylee Ray, and on the other side was kind of like a pillar, so I couldn't really see clearly, and I've not even looked back to see who it was.
Well, maybe it was Jazzy that was the pillar, because she's quite a formidable specimen.
And the funny thing is, now you brought them up. Now, I can't remember when it was, or what in between what match, but anyway, it caught my eye out towards the left. There was a bit of a kerfuffle, and I saw a couple of security guards, and I just saw someone kind of like head and shoulders above everyone else, and with blonde hair, and I was like, oh my god, there's Charlotte. And at first, I thought she was just walking through the crowd for no reason, but it was when she went to the front row and they kind of showed her on TV, etc. She then just walked away after like a minute. So on TV they kind of portrayed that they're sitting at ringside the entire time, but in reality she was only out at ringside for about 30-45 seconds before she went back to the back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I say, that's something I've never picked up on, because like I say, I try and portray it on TV that they're at ringside watching it. But it was quite, like I say, the fact that she stood out in amongst the entire crowd just shows you how tall she is, and just, like I say, like everyone was kind of huddling around her trying to get near her.
Uh-huh.
It was a bit of a shock, to be honest.
She was exceptionally green in the first Mae Young Classic. and she was retired. I think it was neck or back issues. She was basically out of the game for a year or so, but she's back. So in terms of her wrestling acumen, I'm not sure how she'll do, but she's back, so she's obviously doing something right. So it'll be good to see how she does. You've got Marcel Bartel, Walter. They're obviously starting to sow the seeds for the German NXT now. So that'll be good to see. I
don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I think it. Why do you say that?
Because this is just launched.
That's true.
I feel like you kind of need to give this attention just now before doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at this time next year we might get NXT Germany, or towards the end of the year.
Probably.
I don't see it happening like in the near future anyway.
Maybe they'll go.
And that's what made the Walter arrival even more shocking.
I think maybe they'll go down the same route and do some sort of tournament.
Maybe.
So we'll see what happens, because I don't know how many rookies they've got in there. It's not a fully fledged performance centre, but they've got training schools in Germany now, and I know Walters was brought in to help with that. So it could be some time, I suppose. But very excited for Kaylee Ray. Looking forward to seeing how she does. The title match, I mean, I remember a lot from it. I wasn't so caught up in analysing the match for quality, because I was just caught up emotionally invested in it. I wanted the Celtic fan to beat Pete Dunne. But so from that alone is the only reason I was disappointed in the outcome, just because I was a mark for half an hour. And thinking about the quality, alright, it wasn't flashy, but Coffey said himself on maybe Instagram, gritty, not pretty, and that's Coffey's style. He's not all about the flash. He's about outpowering his opponents and just trying to wear them down. And it's a different style from what we're used to, and I appreciated that. It stood out for me. The Pete Dunne, great guy. We all love him, but his character is a bit of a bastard at the end of the day. And I think Coffey was close to bastardizing him. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a close call, and I think, although we don't know what the script is with these supposed botches that happened in the top rope, but if I'm going to keep within the fiction, if this happened, then these are the only things that stopped Coffey from beating Dunne. That he was so used to just doing the power game that anything above a certain height, he reached a certain point in the match where he couldn't do what he wanted to, and that was the only thing that cost him the title, because up until then it was some hard-hitting stuff between the two of them. I think even with those, I don't even know what Coffey was trying to do in the first place, what he was planning. I don't think it harmed him in any way. I hope he's still in the main event scene for quite some time, because over the last few weeks of TV he's done very well for himself, made himself a credible threat, a force. And maybe it was too long, maybe it wasn't, but I was pleased with the outcome in terms of the quality side of things. I would have liked to have seen Coffey win, just for a big shock to start off the takeovers for UK, but overall more than pleased with what I watched on Sunday morning. I watched it, just top notch from start to finish. With maybe I might need to rewatch the women's match, but still good stuff from top to bottom. Nothing was bad, put it that way.
Yeah, and just to sort of like circle back, was it an overwhelming success? Me personally speaking, I felt it was.
Oh, aye.
I felt every single one of us at the show went home happy. A lot of this things I saw on Twitter and Facebook was overwhelmingly positive. And like I said, I'm excited to see where we go now.
Well, see, right, so that's one of the other talking points that we're going to look at. We're going to talk about the current scene. Where do you think it will go? We've had the unveiling of the UK Performance Centre the day before the takeover. You've seen all the stuff over social media. There was Robbie Brookside. There was big Prince Albert himself, Matt Bloom. All the stars were there. Didn't see Regal though.
I think I saw a photo and he was there. I'm not entirely sure.
Right. So, see, the thing I was going to ask you about that. Now, that was a pretty packed out performance centre. Obviously, not everyone's going to make the cut. And for the time being, I think we discussed this last week, we won't see anyone from NU, as we'll try and call it, go to the main roster of Raw and SmackDown. Because you need to bed in your own brand first for a while. Don't change things. But there was a lot of people there. And you're going to have the German one, this global localization that Triple H is wanting to do. Are they just going to, is NXT just going to be the tier for these fringe brands? Because you can't all squeeze in for call-ups at WrestleMania.
I'm convinced more than ever that British Strong Style are not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
I could see him maybe making a sideward move to NXT. Full sale. I don't see them going to the main roster anytime soon. I feel confident of saying that. In terms of, like you say, a lot of these people are not going to get called up. I think that also is a purpose for some people when they come to NXT, that they realise that this is where I'm going to be and that's fine. Not everyone's going to get called up to the main roster. Some people will just be used for NXT itself. But just touching on the performance center, I felt like you brought out some stars because you kind of wanted to make a real big deal about it. And the performance center itself and what that could do for British wrestling is quite big as well. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, WWE or NXT or whatever are just going to kind of cherry pick the best and put them into their own brands. And you know, I don't see that as a massive problem. Like they want to kind of dominate the market here. At the end of the day, like we've touched on before, no one is forcing you to sign those contracts.
True. We are WWE. We're shills for the E anyway, so if they're coming to WWE, that's not going to annoy me. Exactly.
But the performance centre itself, like that's huge, huge, and I feel like that kind of shows you what investment they're putting into the market over here, the wrestling scene over here, and what they think of the wrestlers over here, and what they think of NXT UK, but more importantly, not just what they think of now, but what they believe they could become, and what the entire brand could become.
Exactly.
And that itself is quite exciting. That you could get like a who's who all falling under NXT UK. So, like I say, that's a big statement of intent.
See, at the end of the day, there might be some wrestlers that don't make the cut in the performance centre and they're told to go, but they've gained enough experience to go and have a stab at the indies. So, I get the concerns that people have, but I mean, you're still having matches like Zack Sabre Jr. versus Pac Neville. You've still got star matches. I know that's a one example, and I can't think of more right off the top of my head, but I'm actually surprised that World of Sport's coming back in January at some point. So they're still going strong, and if they keep going with that, they'll get bigger names. You've got Joe Hendry there, Grado. It's looking good for British wrestling.
And like I said, for everyone that doesn't make it, it's not the end of the world. Like, Kenny Omega was there and wasn't deemed good enough.
Look at him now.
Juice Robinson was under the WWE umbrella. You know, there's so many. EC3 was in NXT and then went to Impact and done Impact and ultimately ended back up at under the WWE umbrella. So there's plenty of people who have been deemed not good enough, but have gone on to other promotions and look what they're doing now.
Yep. it's just very early in proceedings, so just let's see what happens. But there's one before we sort of. Do you know roughly when the next takeover will be, or when you think it will be?
NXT UK takeover.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't saw anything.
Haven't the Scooby? Neither do I. I just thought maybe they might have had something for tickets when you were there or something like that, or showing something, but not yet. Maybe they're saving that for Glasgow.
Let's hope so. They have to come up here at some point.
Did you hear what match is going to be taking place? I don't know if this is actually a takeover match or the Phoenix takeover. It's a bit of a spoiler from what happened at the tapings, but would you like to know?
Don't say it. I know what it is because I came across it on Twitter a couple of days after you sent the message.
Okay.
But let's not say it on the podcast on air.
Well, I'll just say one thing. Wowzers.
Look forward to it. Yep.
Oh, yes. Fantastic.
If it's the one I'm thinking, then yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Showcase stuff.
I'm really looking forward to it.
So is there anything else you want to talk about from the successful weekend of the UK branch of WWE? And we move on to the quiz.
Final thought or thoughts. I came in or ended the year 2018 just fed up with wrestling in general. I watch New Japan a handful of times a year, and I looked at Wrestle Kingdom and I was still like, I don't even really want to watch it. Ultimately, I did, but I was just so lethargic. So lethargic, so run down. I didn't have it in me to watch wrestling anymore. I just really badly needed that break that we had. I came into 2019, felt rejuvenated, and what I witnessed on Saturday, an experience just makes me believe that British wrestling is in a great, great place, despite what some people might think, and what British wrestling might look like in about 18 to 24 months' time is really exciting for everyone over in these parts. A brand and a performance centre, let's say, shows you their intent. Guys like Walter turning up shows you their intent. We've got people like Moustache Mountain, like Pete Dunne, people like Zach Gibson, people like Joe Coffey, and then you look further afield, we've got likes of Drew McIntyre, Noam Dar, Nikki Cross, Jack Gallagher. So British wrestling, I think in about 12 to 18 or so months, I can't wait to see where we are. I'm really, really excited about the future of British wrestling, to be honest. I think we all should be, and I think we're going to be in a real great place, I think.
Good stuff. Some positive vibes from Ricky.
Yeah, that's. Like I said, I felt this coming into the year to stay positive, but after witnessing what I saw on Saturday, experiencing it live, first ever takeover, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. It really does. It makes you happy and it makes you excited what could happen now.
Oh, I was rejuvenated just watching it. I mean, the Raw and SmackDown TV's it's been decent. We've had fresh faces. You've got the likes of Ali, Sasha Banks is in the women's title picture, Daniel Bryan's tearing it up. So the actual telly over Christmas and New Year was decent.
Yep.
And then seeing what this Phoenix Arizona takeover card's like is just ridiculous. On top of that, the takeover that we just had was excellent, so it's just all guns blazing. Let's love wrestling.
And like
again.
we said, the Royal Rumble.
Oh, that card's looking
top
good.
to bottom, this card is special as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've mentioned it a few weeks back. It's all about what happens post WrestleMania, because for the most part, Raw and SmackDown is all kind of exciting, building up to Royal Rumble and then building up to WrestleMania. I don't want us to be too negative. I feel like I'm being realistic and keeping it real. I'll wait and see if we're getting all this even post WrestleMania.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Temper expectations, as our man Mags and Bags would say.
You can temper them, or you can do what I'm doing and just get carried away. And I'm just going to let myself get carried away from now on. And just come on to this podcast despondent and bitterly disappointed.
Fuck Brock.
Fuck Brock. Fuck Brock indeed.
Right. Quiz time.
Yep.
Do you want to hear it live?
Yeah, why not?
It's
It's up.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz. There we go. That saves me some editing, a little bit of editing time afterwards. Just a wee update on the quiz only episodes that we're going to be doing. One of them a month. We'll get that started towards maybe the end of February, start of March. We have 4 participants confirmed so far. If you're still wanting to be in it, to win it, please DM us on Facebook, Twitter, at Ricky and Clive, wherever you want to find us. Just let us know and we'll sort something out. The quicker we get this sorted, the quicker we can get the quizzes on the go. Looking forward to getting that in the bag. That, like we've discussed, that might help if there is any possible future burnout. We've got a wee week where we can just take some time and do some trivia, because we all love a bit of wrestling trivia.
And like we say, for the winner, we will have some sort of prize. Well, those details will be given out later, but there will be a prize for the winner.
You win a date with Ricky.
I mean, most people would love that.
Is it Greg Hamilton?
Greg Hamilton.
Is he not a ring announcer or something?
What was it, NXT ring announcer's name again?
Oh, I can't remember, but he's pals with us on Twitter.
That's what I'm thinking. Can't remember his name now.
Yeah, Greg Hamilton's the ring announcer, so you've got the sequel to that rom-com from the noughties, Win a Date with Greg Hamilton. That's your prize. So, this theme is January in WWE history. I've got 10 questions for you. Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Yep.
Number 1, how many New Year's Revolution pay-per-views have there been?
Is it multiple choice by any chance?
Okay, 2, 3 or 4?
2, 3 or 4. Two.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
It ran from 05, 06 and 07, so 3 in total. Number 2, at the 06 New Year's Revolution, there was a chamber match for the WWE title, and before the match, Kurt Angle cut a promo backstage, quite an infamous promo. Can you remember who he said he could make tap out? It was the same promo where he said, if I said that I don't like the black people, I would get cheered anyway. It's that promo.
God?
I'll give you it. He said Jesus. He said if I could go back in time and make...
that's right. Sorry,
I could make Jesus tap out. Number 3. This time last year, who were the Raw Tag Team Champions?
Raw Tag Team Champions.
Oh, I've stumped you.
Well, I know who was at WrestleMania, but whether or not they held it at the start of the year.
So, basically, the 16th of January, around this time, who were the Raw Tag Champs?
Right, well, I'll say it just because they were at WrestleMania. Was it Sheamus and Cesaro?
Incorrect. One of them is not currently wrestling.
Not currently, what, because they're injured, or?
Yes. Possibly for the foreseeable.
Fuck.
Do you give up?
Yes.
Seth Rollins and...
Oh, fuck's sake. Jason Jordan.
Double J, the next generation of great. Number 4, who did Triple H beat to become the WWF champion on the first Raw of 2000?
Jeez.
They had confetti and all sorts for it.
Jericho?
No.
No idea.
The Big Show.
Okay, this is a poor showing.
Which?
But hey, at least it's not as bad as Rancy's showing last week.
Oh. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but you're in the bad books now.
Oh, he doesn't like me anyway.
Which Hall of Famer died this week in 2014? Mm-hmm. I'll give you a clue. This person was involved in an infamous segment which you loved very much back in the day. Back in the Attitude days.
The Hand?
The Hand, yes.
Mae Young.
Mae Young, correct.
Sorry.
Number 6. Which legend did Edge face in a gimmick match on a Raw in January 2006? So think about that time. What was happening in January for Edge in 2006?
January?
Mm-hmm. That's what this quiz is all about.
It's not like facing like a number of legends.
No. Do you give? I'll give you a clue.
It's not.
I'll give you.
Like, go on, you go.
The clue is it was a TLC match.
Because I know he took on Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but I don't remember that being a TLC match.
Certainly not.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. So, Flair?
Correct.
Thanks.
Do you not remember Ric Flair was on a table out on the floor?
Oh, that's right.
Like outside the ring, and Edge was in the ring on the ladder and did a body splash. My God, doing that to an old man, disgraceful.
Oh, fuck Flair.
Number 7, again on Raw. The previous year, who did Edge face in a street fight?
So was that? What year was that?
05.
I can't remember the year I was facing Flair. 05 street fight.
The fact that this match happened on a Raw in a street fight, you're thinking, why the hell have I not rewatched this? Another legend.
HBK?
Correct. Number 8, who on SmackDown, I can't remember which date, but who relinquished the world title in 2006, January 06, due to a torn tricep. They had to vacate the title.
Oh. Big Dave?
Big Dave Batista himself. Big Dick Dave. Number 9. Who was Sheamus's first pay-per-view title defence against at Royal Rumble 2010? So he was the champ for the first time. He beat Cena in a tables match. Who did he face at the Rumble? Remember he used to shout, "I do not entertain." Was it him that shouted that?
I can't remember. It was either... I don't know if he was on SmackDown at this point. Took me to Randall. Takeover. We'll go Randall Keith Orton.
Correct. Number 10. The 30th of January 30 is a birthday shared by which current SmackDown woman and a current Raw manager? So basically you just have to guess.
A current Raw manager. So we got Heyman.
Okay.
We got Leo Rush.
Okay.
We got who else is on Let's Get Managers?
The Drake Maverick.
Yep. And a female SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally just going to have to guess, isn't it?
I know, see, when I think about it, it's quite an unfair question.
Right. Give me a second to think of the managers. So, Heyman, Leo Rush, Drake Maverick.
Want some clues?
Yeah, why not? Because I'm
The Raw manager is also on 205 Live.
Right, okay.
Do you want another clue?
Oh, aye, for the woman.
Well, that's the thing. She doesn't go by that.
So, Becky and Drake Maverick.
Correct. Did you see the throat chop that Becky gave Peyton?
Yes.
Oh my god. Pure assault.
And then she tweeted it out.
I know, GIF. That was horrendous.
I can't wait for that match at Royal Rumble.
Oh, I know.
Cannot fucking wait.
There are a few matches I'm really excited for.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not the Rumble matches.
No. Did you see the photo of Roman Reigns on Twitter?
Yes.
It was quite good.
It does, yep. I thought he would have leaned out because he's maybe not fit enough to work out, but he's looking good, looking well.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Next week we will do a deep dive into the preview for Royal Rumble with some talk about the creative leading up to the show, outside bets. I was thinking, would you like to reinstate the predictions league that you and I have?
Yeah, why not?
Just for main roster?
No, we can include the NXT.
Okay, right, we'll do that, and then we've got NXT to preview as well. My goodness gracious. That card's ridiculous. Anything you want to plug before we go?
No, I'll leave all the plugging to you.
Oh, well, we're in good hands then, aren't we?
Yep, we always are.
Don't forget, ladies and gents, that you can catch the rest of the podcasts at the Social Suplex Podcast Network on any app that you've got. Please rate and review us with a nice big 5 stars. You've got ourselves. You have One Nation Radio, keeping it strong style. Outsider's Edge, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Omega Luke, and Wilfred Watches. I got them all, didn't I?
Yep.
Fantastic. What else? Remember to get 4,000 hours plus for free of independent wrestling at powerslam.tv with the promo code Social Suplex. Check out socialsuplex.com where you can get links to the podcasts and the columns that we write, and you can get them subscribed, sent directly to your email inbox. Follow us at Ricky and Clive on Twitter and Facebook. Social Suplex's Facebook group is called the Wrestling Squared Circle. And ladies and gents, you can get your very own Social Suplex T-Shirt now at Pro Wrestling Tees. If you're interested in buying some white hot property, there is a link in the show notes for how you can do that. I will finish with a personal story that I had happen to me recently. I was at a Comic-Con, right? You know what a Comic-Con is. I know you don't like comics, but you know what a Comic-Con is.
Yep.
And I saw the wrestling stand, and I like to get signed photo autographs of wrestlers. But I like them to be pristine. I don't want them to be creased or anything like that. So I went up to the seller at the table, the merch stand, and said, "Excuse me, have you got any fresh prints of Bel Air?" And the guy said, "No, but the 90s black comedies are a couple of tables down."
Fucking hell. I can't wait for that match at Takeover.
Oh, Belair and Baszler. They've not had much of a build on TV yet. Maybe that will happen tonight.
We've got 2 weeks left.
That's not a lot, though.
I know, but still we should be able to get something, and even if we don't, then who cares? The match itself is still going to be really good.
I know. Yeah, she's very good, Belair. Looking forward to seeing her future. I think...
not overrated, as some idiots have been saying.
I don't get that. I'm not sure why they've been saying that. Where did that even come from?
No idea. No idea.
Okay, speak to you next week, ladies and gents. Night.
Take care, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.